Hi everyone, welcome to today's webinar, BIM 360 Enterprise Deployment. We're just going to give it another minute to see if anyone else joins and then we'll Hi everyone, welcome to today's webinar, BIM 360 Enterprise Deployment. Just a little housekeeping before we get started. If you have any questions during the presentation, please type them into the question box in your GoToWebinar control panel, not in the chat panel. Also, a recorded version of this webinar will be available on our website and YouTube channel within a couple days. You'll receive an email with the link when it's available. Before we jump into the webinar, I want to introduce Microdesk to you all. Microdesk was founded in 1994 as an Autodesk reseller with a simple mission: to assist architecture, engineering, construction, owners, and GIS firms with improving workflows and integrating project delivery technologies. 25 years later, and that mission still holds true. Microdesk is a well-established AECO consulting firm with 13 offices in the US and UK. We have over 230 AECO consultants, solution specialists, and software developers that can help in all sectors, all disciplines, and all stages. Some of the hottest topics in the AECO world are globalization, urbanization, and sustainability. Urbanization studies suggest that the US will build 114 cities the size of Boston in the next 30 years. Here at Microdesk, we can help make sure you're prepared to meet these demands. We use software from industry leaders and combine it with our vision and passion for sustainability to meet the demands of urbanization. Our team of industry experts, consultants, are redefining project delivery and asset management. We're committed to helping clients realize the business benefits of BIM quickly and economically by facilitating the use of innovative technologies and processes. Whether it's streamlining your design, construction, or operations, our consulting team is the nation's largest and most experienced group of AECO technology consulting professionals. Microdesk clients represent some of the nation's largest and most respected organizations and public agencies, including the Port Authority of New York and New Jersey, Denver Airport, Robert A.M. Stern, and Columbia University, among many others. To help support the industry with these demands of urbanization, we provide full service consulting. This includes building information modeling services, enterprise strategy and workflow assessments, technology management, mentoring support, application development, and much, much more. We partner with world leaders such as Autodesk and IBM to utilize innovative technologies and methodologies to empower sustainable design and overcome local challenges. Our vision is to reduce the environmental impact of urbanization by helping the AECO industry to design, construct, and operate better projects more efficiently by leveraging the full potential of BIM, VDC, and asset management. Now, Microdesk Senior Technology Evangelist Peter Marchese will jump on to take you through today's webinar. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you very much, Melissa. So my name is Peter Marchese. I'm the Senior Technology Evangelist at Microdesk. Been working in the industry for over 25 years, working as an architect and then as a consultant. And my focus these days is on all the emerging technologies, BIM 360, cloud services, UAVs, VR, AR, all that fun stuff, just to make sure that it's actually something that's usable. Now for today's agenda, we're going to be going over BIM 360 as an enterprise deployment. So more so from, if I'm an owner and I'm looking at BIM 360, why would I look at deploying this for me? Why wouldn't I just tell other people that I want this on my project? So going over from that standpoint. Now, before I get rolling, what I would like to do is just put up a couple of quick poll questions just to get an idea of who's listening. Might give me a couple of little bit of information to help me tailor some of my examples to the audience. So this should only take about a minute total. So if you let me know what your role is. Are you on the design or engineering side? Are you more the CAD BIM manager? Are you actually an owner? Construction side, I'm guessing the construction side is going to be the others. Perfect, thank you very much. Next one is going to be, are you currently using any of the BIM 360 services, both classic or next gen? All right, good mix all across the board. And last question, not including BIM 360, are you currently using any just general cloud or mobile tools? Make sure people can access content, work from just about anywhere, from the field or these days from home. And almost everybody, yes. That's kind of what I expected right around now. Alrighty, everybody, thank you very much for your time and your participation. We definitely appreciate that. So let's get rolling here. Now, in terms of BIM 360 as an enterprise, Autodesk has a package, well, I shouldn't say package. Autodesk has their construction cloud. Now, what the construction cloud is that's the umbrella term for all of their cloud services from design all the way through operations. And that, at the moment, generally falls under 4 main applications. You've got BIM 360, which has multiple services, packages, and components. You've got PlanGrid, which is one thing, but also integrates with the other tools. Building Connected, which is great on the pre-bid side, setting up the project, managing all the contracts, and Assemble. So this is likely to grow as time goes on, as well as also get more integrated. Now, the one that we're going to be focusing on today is the BIM 360 platform. So when I say this, I'm saying platform specifically. So it has a lot of different pieces that you can do. If you're looking at this to do meeting minutes, I can use it to manage that, and then connect that to any of the issues, and then connect that to any of the documents or models, track pretty much anything I need to from that project, and then pass it all the way through that into construction, and then into handover. So it has a lot of different components. And you notice that orange line on the bottom there, Forge, that allows me to make all the customizations that I might want. In general, BIM 360 comes in 4 packages. You also have the ops component, but in terms of most of the time, we're focusing on docs, design, coordinate, and build. Now, in terms of actual usage here, typically when we talk about BIM 360, the main focus usually is on the designer side. So you've got your Revit users, people can work on the model from just about anywhere. And that's not even to say all the other things that we can do with it. If you're using AutoCAD, Plant 3D, Civil 3D, or other tools, it's just as easy to use BIM 360 to coordinate from just about anywhere, manage, work sharing for Revit, file locking for the other tools. So it really allows us to work on that. And we've done a lot of things where we talk about and focus on the design side. Same idea when we start talking about construction. We've talked a lot about how it can track all of our checklists and punch lists, how it can find clashes and make sure that everything is understood, and we can make sure that everybody's on the same page with regards to our shop drawings, our RFIs. The one thing we usually don't talk too much about, though, are the owners. So we mentioned the benefits down the line, but we don't really talk about why would an owner want BIM 360 outside of just saying, I know it's beneficial, so I want them to use it. Why would an owner actually want to have it themselves? And that's a lot of what we're going to focus on today. Now, in terms of BIM for owners, we've made a lot of progress. Hopefully we're getting a lot further away from the old days where, we'd have the rooms full of drawings and sheets. We made progress from there to CAD, and we've actually done really good getting people into 3D and BIM. And a lot of the owners that we speak to these days, they don't say, oh, we need BIM. They're much more specific about it. They're actually creating documents that are using either industry standards or making their own standards. They're making sure that their proposals and their project requirements state what they need, and they're using LOD to ensure that at the end of the process, they're getting the model that they require. So they're much more educated on what they need. Now, this brings us to the question, why are we looking to implement it for them? The thing here is that it's not about getting another tool. What we're looking to do here is actually solve specific business problems, monitoring performance, uncertainty about file access or data. We want to make sure that as an owner, they have what they're paying for and that they're actually creating a better environment for their projects to occur. So in terms of this, first big reason for an owner to implement BIM 360 as an enterprise is ownership. So now, you've got the old phrase, single source of truth. I have always hated that term. And of course, that's not even showing up. The thing I don't like about that is that you've never had a single Revit model that everybody works in, and that's usually what people talk about. But the idea here is that you're having a single place where all your content lives. And now you're making sure that you can manage and maintain that. Now, from that, you also have liability. Sadly, we've heard from multiple owners that during the course of a project, maybe something goes wrong, there's a disagreement, regardless of the reasoning. What happens then is that that person that was working on the project and has been paid on that project up to that point withholds content. So now an owner might be in the lurch. Project is, how many millions in, any delays are going to cost even more, and they don't have access to their content. If as an owner, they're providing the space, that location for all their content to be, they now make sure that they have ownership of it. They have access to it. They maintain the project and content history. So they can actually see all the changes that are reflected in that file. They know when things happened. If anything breaks down within the project, they haven't lost anything. And they can always access, manage, or benefit from that project information at any point in time from anywhere. So they have that unified database or data location for all their content. Now, sort of in the same vein for this, you have interoperability. So I mentioned before Forge. Now, within that single source of truth, I mentioned I don't like that term. The term that most people are focusing on now is a common data environment, which is more realistic. You're going to have a design BIM, you're going to have construction BIM, you'd have operations BIM. The idea for this is to have things consistently moving forward so you're not doing rework, you're not losing information. And using BIM 360, I can provide that single data environment where my truth lives. And I can ensure that even though, BIM 360 isn't going to do everything for me, it's not going to handle my payouts, it's not going to do all my taxes, it's not going to do all of the other reporting that I might need as a business or entity. But what I can make sure happens is I'm integrated with those tools. I'm making sure that any of the data that's here that would infer or influence other information is connected. So utilizing Forge, utilizing tools like the Autodesk Construction Cloud Connect, I can make sure that that common data environment is literally common across all the different tools. So if I need to make a report in something like, say, Power BI, I'm pulling the data that I need out of my financial tools and the data out of my design and building operations tools. And I'm able to put it all together in a way that makes sense and benefits my needs. So because I'm managing all of my projects in one location, as opposed to having 2 or 3 projects on this architect's site, 2 or 3 projects on that contractor's site. I'm managing it all. I have access to all of my information and I can utilize that correctly. Now, from a quality control standpoint, one of the great things about BIM 360 is the inspections, the checklists, the ability to track and follow the history of something. So this is giving me a lot more transparency into the projects. The other thing is a lot of the larger firms that we work with that are on the owner's end, whether it's for real estates, universities, hospitals, they have specific standards that they need met. They have certain checklists that are required to be used on their projects. Using something like BIM 360 ensures that those checklists are consistently applied across all projects. You build it once, you push it out to all your projects. when something changes, where now we need to do new kinds of reporting. Take for example, COVID-19, especially for hospitals, universities, any place that have large congregations of people. You have new things that need to be met. Using BIM 360, I can create new checklists, new reports, and I easily push that out to every single project that needs it. So that's going to create consistent results that I can then track and create reports from. So I can make sure that I'm losing, the risk that might be there. I'm not allowing there to be gaps in quality because each person who's managing my data does it differently. I'm ensuring that it's done consistently across all my work. Now, anytime you bring in risk or you're doing things where you're checking other people's work, that always has the ability to tie into the cost or your budget. Now, within this, again, one of the great things is that I can gain visibility into the budget versus actual. That you're probably already doing this as an owner anyway. The thing is, what you do on your side might not be connected directly or easily influenced by the work that's being done out in the field. There's probably a disconnect where people are sending you information, you're reporting on that and doing manual data entry, and then updating your information. Within BIM 360, I can keep everything together. And again, I can create those integrations. If there's outside tools that I'm using, whether it's for ERP or other tools, I can create that integration so that way, again, I use this tool for one thing, I'm using BIM 360 for another, but they're common, they're connected. They're removing that separation that could cause rework, that could cause problems. And that's going to make sure that everything is happening within the correct process and things are delivered on time. And again, if anybody does have any questions, please feel free to drop those into the questions window. I'm keeping an eye on that as I go through. Cool. Now, on the reporting and analytics, most people are going to tell you that data is the big thing these days, and it honestly is the truth. Part of the benefit of this is that it's going to give me a lot better understanding of what's happening. The problem with this is that my data might be spread out across multiple places. So I might have some information coming from one person, another information coming from another source. I might have so much data that I don't really know how to make sense of it all. So one of the benefits of BIM 360 again is I have the ability to pull data from multiple sources. I can then take that data out of BIM 360 if I need to. So I'm not locked into there, but I can utilize their own dashboards. I can take that data out and put it in something else like Power BI. I can connect my models to different services that are third party like Unify, pull out a lot of information from my projects. If I want to work off of something like Excel, because I'm very comfortable with that. Again, export out, bring it in there, do the own kind of reports I want. If there's data in Excel that I need to push back into a model or other tools, again, all of that is possible with the different integrations. So if I'm looking at this from a standpoint of operations and maintenance, again, I'm able to pull a lot of data out in terms of how things are happening with the real-time work on my project. So the biggest thing with anything right now is that if you're doing something, do you know if it's being done right? Do you know if it's something that is benefiting the project, or are you just kind of working on it? So getting reporting, getting analytics, it's only going to be as good as the data that you get, but you can pull out a lot of information from BIM 360. And as an owner, as long as I know what it is I'm looking for, I can pull that out and start being more predictive as opposed to reactive. Now, I mentioned it before, managing my facility. Operations and maintenance and management is one of the biggest components of a building's life cycle cost. So one of the things that's nice about this is that if I have a building, I can easily follow and find what's going on. So I don't have to go down into an office and run through a binder or open up 30 different PDFs to try to find the right warranty data. I can look at that model, know exactly where something is, or find it in Excel, find it in Maximo, and make the connections between them. So again, rather than having one thing over here that doesn't actually connect to the other data, I can ensure that everything is synchronized and together. If I'm looking at the model, I can click it on an element, and that can take me to the database that actually has all the information. That can show me where the element is so I can open up the correct PDF of the installation diagram or the warranty data. So let's make sure that managing my project, managing my building understanding where issue areas are. If I need to find out, we notice that there's a lot of issues in one area of the building. There's been a lot of repairs. This makes it much easier for me to track that, much easier to, again, predict where the next problem is or see other problems that are starting to creep up that might not have hit yet. Now, big thing with all of this is, as an owner, you want to be flexible. You don't want to be reacting always on the back foot. You might have also heard of a thing called the digital twin. So think of this as, the digital version of your active building. So you want to be able to view it lightweight. You don't need to have, a supercomputer just to open up your model, even if it is as heavy and detailed as the one that we're showing here. I'd like to be able to open up parts of it or the model itself from a mobile device. So if I'm in the facilities team, I can walk through the building and bring something up and understand what's going on before I start popping ceiling tiles. I want to be able to, again, link in my asset management records and see what's going on within that building. Or look, again, for the warranties I just mentioned, get that information so it's very easy for me to keep editing the model to keep pace with any changes that are done, in the real world. You don't want that, spend all that time and money on something and then not update it. Now, the key thing with these digital twins that allow for flexibility really do happen. So an example of this is the ability to react very quickly. So all of us know the situation that we've been going through worldwide with COVID-19. We actually have one of our clients that is a hospital. We can't mention the name, but the situation was because they had a very detailed model, they were able to actually leverage that data during the pandemic and react very quickly to the fast changing crisis that's going on. So in this case, what they were able to do is look at their layouts and quickly determine what rooms they could increase capacity in. So maybe all of these rooms in this one wing were all single use. Did these rooms actually have enough room, not just for additional patients, but for the equipment to accommodate them? Adding more ventilators, adding more personnel, adding more, basically people in a safe environment that they could still treat. Because they're not looking at just PDFs of floor plans and kind of guesstimating. They have a lot of data with regards to what's the room look like, what's the HVAC system look like. They were able to actually run more analysis. They knew exactly which rooms had positive or negative pressure and could run tests on that to ensure that what they were planning on doing to try to react and take care of their patients would be successful. As an owner, they had their data. They knew how to react to it. They knew how to utilize it. So they weren't reaching out trying to find where a file was, who had the latest version of this. They managed their own and they had that. So they could very quickly act on it and make sure that they had the right plan in place. Now, implementation of just about anything, it's going to take a little bit of effort and you want to make sure you're planning on that. Some of the things in terms of implementing a cloud solution. So this is a couple of years old now, but it's very true. And we've had clients that have actually seen some of these benefits. So impacting both the project lifecycle from the construction side as well as the operations and maintenance. And when we look at the Dodge Smart Market briefs, the impact on the installation and handover is a lot. Same thing on the project outcomes. So this is on integrating, an integrated workflow, putting it to a consistent location where people can work, share content, and make sure that one person's not using Dropbox, another one's using email. We want to keep things in a consistent location so everybody can work together and easily manage and track progress. Now, looking at the projected benefits, 66% on the owner confidence. That's one of the biggest ones. But the ability to utilize something, to implement something that integrates the workflow is a big thing. When you look at it from the standpoint of an owner, the ability to have that integrated workflow that you provide, that you manage, and then you benefit from is even bigger. Because typically when you're looking at that life cycle benefit, there are places that have actually put a number to that. If you aren't putting in to get a correct or an efficient interoperability solution, something that ensures that what you have works for you as well as others, it will cause problems. Now, in terms of moving forward, So if you're looking at BIM 360, you like some of the ideas and you've seen it used in a couple of your projects and you like the benefit of that. Biggest thing, like anything, is always to have goals and objectives. So on a lot of clients that we work with, we tend to focus on, what are the things that you need to get out of this. So coming up with milestones. What are the actual deliverables going to be? Meaning that, do you just want a place that's going to start off with a file sharing? Do you want to have a place that connects to ERP? When you can think ahead and see, okay, well, what are we currently doing? Where are our problems? And realize that nothing's going to happen all at once. So do this in phases, do this in steps. Make sure that each step will lead into the next one, hopefully removing any rework, but that you can plan for that. And some plans can be done at the same time and then make that connection later on. What kind of customization or content will be required? Does it need videos and documentation for training? Do you need development work to make the integrations, or are those things already available for the tools you have? Now, there's a lot of little pieces, but these are things that we are very experienced with and we've worked with a lot of our clients to create. So, but if you are already working on something and you already know some of the pain points that you specifically have, then you're already well ahead. It's just taking a look at the tools and the technology and finding out where can the technology solve a problem, as opposed to I want to buy a new toy or tool that it does this. What's the pain point? What's the problem that it will solve? And then make sure it actually does that. Cool. Any questions? Again, if anybody does have any questions, drop them into the questions window. We're keeping an eye on that. We got one question here regarding the security. So this one actually comes up a lot. So with regards to BIM 360, they utilize the Amazon Web Service. So that's very secure. It does have the ability to have two-factor authentication on it. So in order for me to actually log in, I would have to have my phone or get one of the, like a SMS message to do that. One of the other things you can do also is set up single sign-on. So if you want to connect the logins to like an Exchange database or something else, you can do that too. So it is actually very secure. We have a lot of companies worldwide that are utilizing this. Good question here. Does BIM 360 integrate with PlanGrid for 2D clickable floor components? So at the moment, BIM 360 does have integration with PlanGrid utilizing the Autodesk Construction Cloud Connect. So that's a separate piece. But what that allows me to actually do is create sort of rules or workflows. If something happens in one thing, I want it to automatically happen on another thing. So for example, if I create an issue in one, I want that issue to also be created in the other. Now, the integration currently doesn't automatically make it so as I'm zooming in and out in one view here, it also does the other. But what I can do is if somebody uploads a floor plan inside of PlanGrid, I want that floor plan copied to BIM 360. So if I can make sure that whatever the latest version is, it's always in one or the other. That definitely is possible. Good question. What's the smallest company client that you've seen use BIM 360 as an owner? For me, myself, there is a couple of real estate companies that does small development. Honestly, off the top of my head, I don't know the number, how much property they actually manage, but it's definitely not, like an international or huge company. They have a handful of properties and they're looking at utilizing BIM 360 for a cloud storage for their documentation. So some of the projects are Revit, but not all. But again, they're making sure that they have a consistent place, whether it's PDF, whether it's AutoCAD, whether it's Revit, it's going up there. And they're looking at using different tools like BIM 360 Ops, as well as non-Autodesk software to manage their properties, manage their tickets. So again, it doesn't have to be one thing, but as long as they integrate and you're not siloing your data, then that's good. Yeah. So definitely, if you have any more questions, keep popping them in there. While I'm waiting for those though, I'm just going to go ahead and let you know about some upcoming events that we have. So next couple of webinars that we have is in September. We have one that's focusing on Revit and Inventor workflows. So we're going to be talking with some of our team on the Microdesk side, as well as our sister company, M2. And we're going to be talking about how Revit and Inventor actually can integrate these days. There's been a lot of updates over the last few years, so some cool stuff to look at there. Then following that, we're going to have one that talks about Navisworks for BIM 360. So there's a couple of different ways that Navis integrates with BIM 360, and Mike is going to go over those both between Classic and Next Gen. So if you're interested in that, definitely tune in for that. Should be a good one. Now, if you do have any questions and you weren't able to either type them in or you think about them after we end, definitely feel free to reach out to us. We'll be glad to help out. If you had feedback, other topics you'd love us to cover for webinars, if you want to ask about having us do a custom meeting for you or a presentation, you're looking at using BIM 360, but you're not sure if it's a fit for you, or you just have questions about technology, let us know. We'll be glad to sit down and talk with you and see if we can work with you. Otherwise, everybody, thank you so much for your time. We definitely appreciate it. Stay safe out there, and if there's anything we can do to help, let us know. We'll be happy to. Take care, everybody. Thank you.